Thank you so much for joining us today, everybody. It's really exciting to see so many people on the attendance list. Today, we have our wonderful friends and colleagues from RBC here to talk about finances and budgeting while you're in university. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Alex and Nicole.
Thank you so much, Tyler. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. And thank you so much for joining this session on financial literacy as a part of our new journeys program for our new college orientation. So as of me, my name is Alex, and I am an English and Mandarin bilingual banking advisor as a part of the RBC on-campus team here at U of T. So all you have probably have heard of RBC before, which is one of the biggest financial institutions in Canada. But most of you are not familiar with our on-campus team format. So basically, I will give you a quick introduction about our team, what we do, and try my best to help you out. And I would like to ask you to be involved as much as possible, as this will be the best way for you to maximize your takeaway for today. Now, let me hand it over to my colleague, Nicole, to give a quick introduction for herself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Nicole, and I am also a bilingual financial advisor. I speak English and Cantonese, and I'm part of the RBC on-campus team at U of T as well. Very nice to meet you guys.
So much, Nicole. So let me give you guys an introduction regarding our RBC on-campus team first. So we do have 4 different pillars within our RBC on-campus team. The first one will be financial literacy. Now, what we do is we basically build financial literacy education among young adults and set the stage for informed decision-making and strong financial management skills into their transitional years and, of course, throughout their adulthood. So we're committed to provide both formal learning and informal advice to help fill in these gaps that currently exist regarding to the financial topics, from money basics all the way to advanced financial investment planning, by helping these students better manage their money and also prepare for their financial futures. We contribute to a strong foundation knowledge that encourages and supports critical thinking and foster relevant skills that can be applied to planning for every stage of life. Now, the next pillar will be personal and professional development. So our new graduates are facing basically the no experience and no job barrier to finding their gainful employment early in their career. So through this innovative program and partnership with New College, RBC is creating new ways to open students to networks, opportunities, and resources within this bank, and to help to prepare them for a better life after university or college. So our on-campus team embraces that commitment in helping students to connect with meaningful and real work experiences that can prepare them for future by partnering with all these on-campus career centers as well. Moving on to the next, which is our the third pillar, is our physical and mental wellness. So by providing with beyond banking advice does not simply stop at supporting the personal and career development with students, right? As on-campus advisors, we will understand the common day-to-day stresses of life in school, especially for these international students. So we are committed to support students' overall wellness and including mental and physical aspects. That's what we do. So moving to the very last pillar, which is our social and cultural awareness and community engagement. We also offer various social and community awareness and engagement in terms of celebration of the Pride Month and Indigenous Peoples Month, and also the Chinese New Year. So and also many other cultural activities. So that being said, that's basically the introduction of our on-campus team. Let me show you something we do on a regular basis. What we do is we do advice events in terms of financial literacy workshop, help these students to understand credit score, how to find their first job, which is our job search 101, and also give them advice on how to rock their LinkedIn profile, which is a professional job seeking application in North America. So we also hold on-campus one-on-one chats if our students have career development questions, they want to gain experience on resume improvement or mock interview, they can definitely come to us, set up a one-on-one coffee chat for free. And then moving on to, we do have other partnerships with other applications as well. So we do have offer with fullyprep.ca, which is a career development tool. If you have an RBC account, then we can give you 3 months of free trial by using this fullyprep.ca. So basically, the next step for our new college student is to just write down and take a screenshot of our contact method, and also send us an email for a follow-up meeting after this session today, so that we can connect with you, each of you individually, not just for banking, for all these career advice and financial literacy educations, right? So that being said, let's move on. Hope everyone has taken the message already. And then we're going to move on to our topic for today. So the first topic that we're going to cover is banking in Canada, especially helping international students understand banking in Canada. So as an international student, coming to Canada can be a little bit exciting, but it also can be very, very busy and stressful. So while you're getting used to your new surroundings or your new friends, your college or new timetable, the last thing you want to think about is your finances. That's why I'm glad here today, so that I can show you something that we can help you to make things a little bit easier for all of our students. Now, today we'll be covering up these 5 topics: opening a Canadian bank account, understanding Canadian bank cards, the ways to access your money, receiving funds in your Canadian account, setting up for success. So Canadian banking, all banks in Canada are regulated by the federal government. A bank in Canada can generally be referred to 2 categories. The first category will be the big 5 in terms of RBC, TD, Bank of Nova Scotia, BMO, and CIBC. And the second category includes the second-tier banks that are largely domestic in Canada. So what I'm saying is National Bank or Tangerine, etc. So because of all these banks are regulated, so most of the information we provide today should be applicable to all banks, not just RBC specific. Which is the best way in Canada? Which is the best way to do banking in Canada? It depends on who you ask, right? And the answer will likely be different. So here are some things to consider when choosing your bank. You have to think about your accounts and fees. Most banks offer free accounts for students to take advantage and make sure features your account offers match that your transaction needs. RBC do provide free banking for students, and we also have other offers. The second thing you should consider is convenience. Choose a bank that will be convenient for you to take out cash or go into a branch. The third thing will be digital technology enablement. Can you deposit check via your phone directly without stepping out your door? For most other transactions, can you do it digitally? The next, you can consider your service and advice. Are you able to receive the best service and advice you can get? Now, the last but not least is the current promotions. When it comes to the orientation month, a lot of banks will give their other promotions. However, within RBC, we do provide a $60 cashback offer as long as you open an account with RBC. Now, moving on to the next page, what we have is how to open a bank account in Canada. In Canada, there are 2 most common types of accounts. The first one is called a checking account. This account is similar to the current deposit account. Some of them you may have it back home. It is for everyday use. And really, it's just the first account you will really need to have. You can use it to do purchase, do online transfers, and do online shopping, and withdraw money. Now, the second account you might have is something called the savings account. This account is for money you don't need for day-to-day expenses. Let's say you try to save money to buy a bike, right? Some savings accounts earn a high interest rate than a checking account. So it is more for putting money in and then leaving it for some purposes after. This account is a great option to park any lump sum you may have transferred into Canada from other countries, say for your living expenses, residence costs, and tuition payments in the future. Now, most banks offer specialized student accounts designed to help you save money on monthly fees and transactions. And they do come with some additional perks. When you're ready to open a student banking in Canada, you will need to bring some documents to verify your identity. residential status, address, and of course, your student enrollment status. Some of the things you might need to bring for an account opening is you need to bring the passports or study permits just to verify your identity and international student status in Canada. Now, the second thing you need to bring is the proof of your address. This is required to verify your residence address. So now the last thing you need to do is the proof of your student status. It can be your course timetable, right? Or letter of enrollment from your university. That's basically to verify your current enrollment status within U of T or other universities. Now, many institutions offer exclusive offers and benefits. You should weigh your options before making decisions. As like I mentioned earlier, for instance, at RBC, we offer new students, clients with a $60 welcome cash for opening accounts, almost no cost for a monthly fee. As we understand that we're currently in restrictions in place where you arrive in Canada, including a mandatory 2 weeks isolation period, quarantine. So for our knowledge, most banks will need you to wait for the associate isolation period prior to being able to stop into a local branch and complete your account opening. But we at RBC at this moment, we would do a little bit things differently. We do provide clients with the option to open an account remotely without asking students to step into the branch. They can simply set a one-on-one virtual meeting with us, and then we can open this account within a 30-minute time frame. So let me hand it over to Nicole now to explain what are different types of cards we have in Canadian banking.
Okay, so there are two basic types of bank cards in Canada. So the first one is called a debit card. When you open a bank account, you'll be automatically given a debit card, also referred to as a client card at RBC or a different name at other banks. So you can use this card to gain access to your online banking. You can make purchases in store, or you can withdraw cash from the ATM. When you do a transaction using a debit card, the money is deducted from your account immediately, so you must have enough funds in your account for the transaction to go through. Next, we have the credit card. So in Canada, it's common to use a credit card to make everyday purchases in store, online, or even renting a car. Most importantly, getting a Canadian credit card is one of the best ways to start building a Canadian credit history. Why is the Canadian credit history so important? Your credit history is your financial reputation. It is a picture of how well you manage your money, whether you've paid your bills on time, what your current debts are, and whether you've missed any payments. Over time, this data forms a pattern of how well you pay or you don't pay. Your debt and that pattern is created into a credit report. Anytime you apply for a loan or a credit card, lenders will look at your credit report to help them decide whether or not they should approve your application. Landlords may also look to see if you're the kind of person who always pays their rent on time, and also employers may also take a look at that as well. At RBC, we have something called the virtual Visa debit. This is the third card that you might encounter, and the simplest way to explain what it is it is a debit card that allows you to use for online purchases when your debit card does not have that feature. So next, we're going to talk about the ways you can access your money. So there are many, many ways you can access your money in Canada. You can do it through your online banking, on your laptop, you can download the mobile app on your phone. Right now, digital banking solutions and apps can help you check where your money, wherever you are, whenever you are. You can easily pay your bills, transfer money to a friend on the go. Almost all of your banking can be completed online nowadays. When it comes to ATMs, you can find a wide variety of automated teller machines across USC campus and the surrounding community. Be aware that using an ATM from another banking institution may incur additional service fees. Be sure to be ready for the prompts on the screen before inputting your personal identification number, also known as the PIN. Most banks will also have advice call centers that connect you with advisors or specialists who can help you with your individual goals or needs on your schedule. in your preferred language or at a location that's most convenient for you. Make sure you remember to always, you should be the only one to have access to your money in order to protect yourself from fraud. There are two most important tips that I can give you right now to protect yourself. So the first one is to never share your PIN with anyone. Not a bank employee, never write it down, and keep all your debit and credit cards in a very safe spot. The second is to never provide any personal information such as banking account numbers, passwords, to anyone that calls or emails you. Keep in mind that Canadian banks will never contact you to ask you for any types of these details. You should also be very careful about sharing your date of birth or social insurance number, and make sure you safely dispose of your paper bills, statements, and receipts. Shred all the sensitive documents if you have the option before throwing them out. If you would like to learn more about fraud and how to protect yourself, we have some material we can provide you with after today's presentation, and we're also very happy to provide you with further guidance if you need. So next, we're going to briefly go over how to receive funds into your Canadian bank account from overseas. So the most common way to do that is through a wire transfer. So right here is a list of information that the sender will need to be able to wire you some money. So over here, you can see we need the complete name and address. We need your bank account number, your 5-digit transit branch number, complete bank branch address and telephone number, the bank name, and a SWIFT code. So this one is specific to RBC. So moving on, so we are going to set you up for success. So ultimately, each person is responsible for their own finances, but we're here to provide you with the necessary advice and guidance. It's especially important for international students when you receive a large sum of money from your parents to cover your expenses at the beginning of the school year, and try to manage that and to make it last for the entire year. This is where having a good budget and sticking to it will help you accomplish the task that you need. And remember, while we're always here to help, if you have any questions about your finances or need help creating a budget, we're here for you. I'm going to pass it back to Alex.
Thank you so much, Nicole. Just like Nicole said earlier, if you have any further questions, and if you wish to start banking in Canada and you don't have accounts so far, feel free to contact with us, right? Within RBC, we do provide free RBC student accounts with a $60 cash offer as soon as you open these accounts. And also we provide RBC free credit card with up to a limit of $1,000. You don't have to do anything. You simply book a professional with us. You already have our contact methods, and we will be able to set up a virtual meeting with you to open your account and credit cards within the 30 minutes time frame. And before come to us, please, again, do a research on our website or the other banks or other platforms, just trying to make sure this account is the right one for you and you are suitable for this account. Again, like Nicole mentioned earlier, if you still have questions related to banking, your credit score, and if you want to learn more on how to build your credit score, and you want to transfer money from your home country, let's say from India, from China, from Korea, all the way to Canada, there is something called wire transfer. If you need that information from our bank, contact with us, right? You're welcome to book a financial review with us after the meeting in terms of what would you like to plan to do. It doesn't matter if you don't bank with RBC or not. If you have accounts with TD, CIBC, also feel free to book a financial literacy one-on-one session with us, and so that Nicole and I can explain all the banking things that you missed earlier in the presentation a little bit detailed to you again. So that's just something we offer for our students with our content campus team. So again, we will post our contact message later on. Now, what we will do is we will move on to the next topic of our today, which is the budgeting 101. So today's another presentation is budgeting 101 and resources to help you to take control and manage your budget. So let's get ready, and maybe if you have a pen and paper handy, get ready and take some notes. So we're going to start by quickly going over the basics about what money is and what you can do with it. In our time today, we'll be showing how to create and fill in your own budget and the different budgeting tools and resources so that we can leave here with a clear understanding of how to prepare and manage your budget and your financial situation confidently. So now, based on how you feel about the snapshot, you are always able to bring your budget to talk to one of our advisors and to also can help you to get comfortable with it and to use your budget as a tool to achieve your financial goals. So first, now some of you might be wondering what is a budget and what is a budget actually is. I would say a budget is a tool that helps you to track and manage your money. A budget will help you to understand how much money you are coming in and going out. A budget will also help you to determine how much money you can spend and save in a given day, in a given week, or in a given month. Now, when it comes to why we care about budgeting, does it really matter? My answer to it is most definitely. So people that budget ultimately have less stress about money because they have a handle on their financial situation and avoid some of the really scary situations like overspending and going into unnecessary debt. So people that budget also have a better grasp on what they actually need versus what they want, and can be more easily prioritize and make smarter decisions about how to spend your money. So budgeting can be really helpful when you make the most of your money and get to your financial goals, whatever it might be. But budgeting can help you to stay focused on what really matters now, which is education. We can develop your budgeting into either what is need and what is something that you want. So let's review this together. Now, my question for you guys is, what's going into your bank accounts? If you have a clear idea of what will be going in your account and what will be going out of your account, feel free to type all these things that are in your mind to the chat function so that we can review it after. So let us think about the types of income that are most relevant to you. There should be a list of items that you could clarify and also classify as income or money in. So let me show you something. It can be your full-time and part-time employment income. Okay? It can be your other like Uber income. It can be your scholarships, your grants, your RESP. Now, what is RESP? This is something as an international student you might not be very familiar to. So basically, RESP, the full name is Registered Education Saving Plan. It is a registered investment account within Canada that we can open for our children to save for their education purposes. Now, you don't necessarily have an RESP. Most likely, your parents will have one. But when it comes to your university life, RESP will give you money on a monthly basis so that it can also count as towards your income. Now, you also have your student loans. You have your earnings from your investments. If your money coming from other countries and you don't know where to put, you would probably put it into an investment account. And that investment account will give you interest rate or rate of return so that you also have to consider that as your part of the earning. You have proceeds from selling things maybe on Kijiji, which is our online secondhand selling website. You have your birthday money. You have your money from your parents, email money transfers. This is something that we use very often within Canada, which is called an e-transfer. So whenever, let's say, you and your friends going out for a dinner and one person pays for it all, what you will do is you will transfer all this money to your friend after this little party, right? So what you will do is you will use something called e-transfer. You will use your online banking once you have an account with RBC. You will go to your online banking and send the money to your friends by email. Basically, you will put their email address, you will put the amount, they will receive and put their name, and you can click send. The money will send to their email address. And once your friend opens their email, they will find that specific email you using your online banking to send to them. And then they can choose where to deposit their money. And that's another way of money in to your account. Now we also have what we discussed earlier by Nicole, which is a wire transfer. That's for a large amount of international money transfers. Last but not least, we have our tax refunds. So now that we review the types of income coming into your account throughout the year, our next step is just to go over where does all my money go, right? Money that comes into your account doesn't always stay there. It goes out to pay for the things that you want, the things you need, and unfortunately the things that you think you need, but are actually just one at the end. In order to avoid all that empty pockets feeling situation, it is very important to understand how much your money goes out on a monthly basis. So in other words, understand your monthly expenses so that you can make sure you have enough income to cover them. So this practice makes it easier to probably access and prioritize expenses that are essential and the ones that are more nice to have, but are not really that important. So if you have a pen and paper handy right now, again, please take some notes through this presentation to help you with your future budget planning. Again, right now, I'm going to pass on to Nicole to share where does your money go and give some examples.
So let's think about what types of expenses that you have throughout the year. So these are the things that you are spending your money on a regular basis. Just like, every morning, if you have your Starbucks coffee, that's a quick $6 right there, or a bigger one-time ticket, items like the books you buy every semester or the rent you pay each month. So let's open up this discussion. What are some expenses that you entail throughout the year? You guys can use the comments, the chat room to just list some of the things you use as expenses.
So feel free to pop into the chat, everyone, any expenses, things that you anticipate having to pay for this year. Feel free to pop in the chat or use your mic if you like.
Books, yeah, that's definitely going to be one of them if you're in university. Uber Eats, yep, good one. We have, let me give you some other examples. We have rent. If you're living on campus, there's tuition. As James mentioned, we have books, clothes, residence, food, perfect. We have concert tickets. Have somebody say a hotel accommodation. That would be, yeah, if you're traveling. We have groceries, if you're using the transportation, it could be a transit pass. We have computer software, subscriptions for Netflix, Disney Plus, credit card payments, a bunch of anything you can think of that you would spend any money on. This is where your expenses would go. So if you take a look here on screen, there's a list of items that you could classify as expenses. Take a look at the item, and at each item that you spend money on, write that item down and the amount, so you may include that in your future budget calculations. As you do this, if other things start to pop into your head that you're not sure of, if you would classify as an expense, then just ask the question. So next up, we have where do you want your money to go? Income and expenses are things that you can more or less plan ahead for and expect. So there are things that you might want to do with your money. For example, say for a trip, or if the new iPhone 13 comes out, or you have access to funds that you want to spend money on, or going out with friends. You need to be thinking about this stuff so you can start actually going throughout your budgeting exercise, so you'll be able to see right away what you can actually afford to do. You can do so you can have like a spring break trip, you could have a girls' night out, going to movies, and so on, so on. So take the time now to jot down some of the things that aren't accounted for in your expenses or income that you like to be able to save money for in the future. think of these as goals. Some common spendings and savings goals are up on the screen, but there may be others that are personal to you that you'll want to write down. So take a few moments to just write down what you want to save for and what some of your goals may be. So next up, the real fun begins. So at this point, you should have a broad list of your income, your expenses, and the goals for your money. So I'm going to show you how to organize these lists so you can have a month-by-month view of your financial situation. It's necessary to organize these lists in a way to give you a simple and accurate snapshot of how much money you actually have. There's so much fluctuation and change in expenses and income in a school year that if you just take an annual overview, you won't actually know how much money you can spend each day. And therefore, you put yourself at the risk of overspending and not be able to achieve your goals. So the amount of money moving in and out of your account is not the only thing that matters. You also need to be aware of when the money is moving in or moving out, so you can budget to have enough in your account to cover the expense. How often money enters and leaves your account is also an important factor to make sure that the money you have can actually last the entire school year. So next, I have a budget tracker, if you can see on the screen, and you can put all the details that you personally have onto the tracker, and we can briefly go over how to fill it out. So with this budget tracker, you'll want to track your budget on a monthly basis so you can plan for immediate needs and future needs. So we'll first start by putting income or any money you'll be receiving. You'll want to start organizing these items that are listed as income under the month that the money will be coming into your account. Different incomes have different amounts and cadences. So for example, your student loan payment may be a lump sum deposit in August or September, whereas payments from work may be regular, bi-weekly, or monthly basis. If the income is not so regular, you can estimate an average amount and pencil it in, but make sure to update the numbers as they come to get a more accurate picture. You'll want to include these types of details in your budgeting tool so you can properly manage how and when these funds are used. After you've listed your income, you'll want to list out your expenses in a similar manner by describing each expense, listing the amount, due date, adding notes about how regular these expenses occur. For example, rent is usually once a month, or your school tuition is twice a year if you're doing fall and winter. Finally, you want to tally the total income and expenses to make sure you have enough money to cover your expenses. If the balance or the difference is negative, it's an indication that you need to re-examine your income and expenses because you do not have enough income to cover your expenses. This is a very, very common situation, so don't feel alone if your budget looks like this. The important thing is that being aware of a scenario in advance will give you the opportunity to find a solution and avoid being in uncomfortable positions. If you end up with a positive balance, it gives you the opportunity to carry over the surplus to another month or put money towards some of the goals you've outlined. In addition to carrying over income, you'll want to list the goals out on your budget as well, so you don't lose sight of the things that you want to spend your money on. Some goals will be smaller, like a new outfit that you like to save for on a monthly basis, and others will be bigger and recurring, like a vacation where you might be saving for a little bit longer period of time before you use the funds. So, next, what if my balance is negative? So if your balance is negative, it means that the income you've stated is not enough to cover the expenses you've listed. It also means you do not have any money to contribute to your goals. First thing you'll want to look at if you're in this situation is your expenses. So you got to identify the essentials. So tuition, iPhone, computer, groceries, what is absolutely necessary and that you will absolutely need. So you might find ways to trim down your expenses by identifying the essentials, the things you cannot live without and you need to survive, as I've mentioned. So often there are things that are non-essential and we treat it more as goals. For example, I have a Starbucks on my goals section of the budget. It's a treat for me if you can afford it, but it's not that you cannot live without it. Your rent, however, is an essential expense. You wouldn't be able to survive if you didn't pay for a roof over your head. Keep in mind that everybody will have different essential expenses at different times of their lives. So taking an honest look at your expenses can result in reducing your expenses to the essentials, which might help you balance, turn from a negative into a positive. So next, sometimes trimming expenses just isn't enough, so there are other options that you can do to try to rein in your expenses each month. Reducing the cost of your expenses can go a long way. Try to find other ways to shop smarter or save money. There are a few tips that can result in some of your expenses being reduced on the screen. So first, always show your student card at retailers or ask for a student discount if available. Comparison shopping, you can go along. Always do your research before making the impulse purchase to find the best deal. Find ways to get cashback offers on your everyday and online expenses through saving apps. There's Checkout 51, Drop, Zip, Rakuten, etc., etc. For your monthly subscriptions, for example, Netflix, Spotify, or Apple Music, you can always share it with friends and family to help you decrease your expenses. On the flip side, the other thing you can try to do is find ways to get more money. So we do have an RBC X Music. So if you ever want to go to any concerts, we do offer a special discount for students. Something good to keep in mind. So how do you get more money? And no, we don't mean to rob bank. By applying for scholarships, applying for a part-time job, or finding ways for your money to make sure, finding ways for your money to go further, there are some options that you can explore. The RBC has many resources for jobs and scholarships. Your campus will have other resources as well. Working with a financial advisor might also be helpful in finding solutions that will help your financial situation. I'm going to pass it back to Alex to continue about what is a good budget.
So much, Nicole. So moving on to next, what is a good budget? I always say everyone's budget is a little bit different, and of course, it should be different. There are some common things that are always good to have on your budget. The first thing is, let me show you here, is to include a slush fund in your goals. What is a slush fund? So basically, a slush fund is trying to allocate about, I would say, 5 to 10% of your income, the money into your account, into a special fund, let's say for a saving account or investment account that can be used for unplanned expenses as they come up. The second option can be having some type of saving goal, right? Whether it is big or small. It is important to get into a habit of saving. Plus, there is nothing more rewarding than getting, setting a goal and working towards it and eventually accomplish it. So now having your income equal to your expenses, while it means that you have enough money coming in to cover expenses, if your budget is zero or even negative, it means you are not setting yourself up to either plan ahead or save for a goal. Now, when it comes to the ways to track your budgets, finding a budgeting tool that you will actually use is very important. And also, you can create your own spreadsheet, just like Nicole mentioned earlier. Now, if you are more comfortable using mobile app, then feel free to download some application like Mint, M-I-N-T. So Mint is a money manager and monthly budget planner. So finally, RBC has a student budget calculator that you can use on your own or just fill it together with an advisor when it comes to branch or when we meet virtually after this session. So the budget calculator is just to help you to figure out how much school costs you will have overall, and so you can be better prepared. It is also a great resource to figure out how much you will need to borrow to pay for your tuition, for your books, rent, and other living expenses through this academic year. So how to find this RBC student budget calculator? Very easy. Simply go to Google and type RBC student budget calculator and choose the first option you have. It will lead you there. And it is not a very easy or everyday banking budget tool like we touched on earlier. There was a budget tracker to help you to create a monthly budget for when you are actually at school. So give it a try after this session. I think it will be beneficial to you. Now let's discuss something regarding the ways to monitor your money. So alerts are a great way to get proactive and reactive information about your bank account in real time. You can set up alerts through online or mobile banking to get a text message or email notification every time when you make a purchase. You can make a tap just to remind you about any upcoming bill, to see your balance at the end of every day to ensure it does not dip too low. If you're an RBC client and you get access to something called Naomi Insights, this is the second option here. Naomi Insights is within the mobile app. So this is our artificial intelligence tool that can analyze your account spending patterns and activity just to give you an insight. And it will give you advice on where your money is going and the smarter ways to manage it. And it will help you to automatically transfer a small amount of money from one account to a saving account on a weekly or monthly basis so that you don't overspend yourself. Now, finally, just getting into the habit of logging into online banking, mobile banking very often. I would say every day, not every hour, but every day at least, or at least once a week. In a simple way, just to do a quick health check on your finances, right? Update your budget and stay alert about your financial situation. If you have questions on how to set up these alerts and Naomi Insights, how to set up, or you don't know how to use these online banking, mobile banking, again, feel free. It doesn't matter if you bank with RBC or not. Feel free to book us with a session after this meeting. Now, when it comes to ways to save, well, saving can be difficult sometimes. I mean, the simple act of setting the intention and outlining it as a part of your goal on your budget, it can be a powerful reminder just to encourage you to set aside something, even if it's just $1 a week, right? So if you need a bit of a more forceful help, let's say setting an automatic transfer between your checking account and your saving account in a simple way to make sure those funds are being tucked away, so you can use these money that you saved towards your goals later on. So if you bank with RBC, what we have is we have this really neat technology called Naomi Find and Save. So it can use these things to understand again what is your spending pattern, so we can put into real use and automatically transfer money from one account to another. Now, so that's basically all the presentation for today regarding the budgeting 101, as well as how international students should do banking in Canada. Again, this is our contact methods. Now I will leave some room for our discussion and Q&A session. Again, feel free to take a picture or send us an email after this meeting. I would say the things and all these resources and information you gain from this presentation today, this 1 hour presentation, is very limited. And if you might have questions, or whenever you set up accounts, you might have further questions regarding your wire transfer, online banking, e-transfer, right? And your investments question. Again, feel free to book us with an appointment. I should say we can provide you within a one-on-one session or a 30-minute account opening session. We will be able to provide you with a personalized, tailored advice according to your situation solely, so it can better help you with your banking needs and your academic and career development needs. So again, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much, Alex and Nicole, for those wonderful presentations. We really appreciate it.